Hi. Um, just a little prop there. I thought I would do a video now. This is kind of going to be made on the fly, so to speak, without too much preparation. And I've entitled it "Never Trust a Smiling Cat," because some of you know I like to use that phrase. And just to clarify, I do like cats. I love cats very much, and I like cat humor as well. Okay. Um, so I just wanted to set the record straight on that. All right. But so as I said, this is going to be called "Never Trust a Smiling Cat." In this video, um, first of all, I'll say a few things. It may be a bit lengthy. It may run about a half an hour or more. Secondly, there may be some rather coarse, vulgar language used coming out of this mouth in the presentation here. So, and this is not so much going to be about the Zyprexa and stuff. That will be a bit of it, but largely this is a long overdue update about Miss Malpractice and my attempts to legally nail the bitch. I'm sure some of you are curious, and you might have some unanswered questions dating back from 2 years ago. And so I want to kind of, fill in the gaps, so to speak, with that. And also, I hope you may, by watching this video, you may take away some information that you may find applicable to your own situation in the event you're having any difficulties with your clinician and or prescriber. And, and again, going back to that was May 2015. So almost 2 years ago, when the investigation of over a year was concluded, and it was determined that there was insufficient evidence. Those are the two words that were used, and I want you to keep that in mind: insufficient evidence. As I have discovered over the many years, especially really in 25 years, clinicians are infamous for knowing how to cover their own ass, and not letting anyone or any of their patients know anything about any kind of trouble they've been in or anything like that. A lot of times it's a ego-tripping narcissistic power play for these people. And I've kind of had it up to here with these fucking clinicians, okay? Pardon moi français, s'il vous plaît. So let me tell you, I did make a few notes here, and I will do my best to make a better presentation here compared to the last time I made a on-screen appearance in June of last year. That, of course, was done on 3.5 hours of sleep, and should not have done that video in such a horrible state. So I will try to speak as best as I can. And just so you know, and like I said, I'm really not going to talk about Zyprexa so much. But what I can tell you about that, yes, sleep is still an ongoing problem. Likely now pushing 3,000 hours of lost sleep over the past 5 years. And of course, also it blows my mind. Here we are, 5 years later, and I'm still dealing with this. But I suppose that's partly my choice. Maybe I don't know, say more about that another time. But so let me see here. So as far as I'm going to be looking at the screen because I'm reviewing this investigation. I got my hands on the report of the investigation, and like I said, ideally I wanted to do this almost 2 years ago. I wish I had done it back in 2015. So I like I said in fact, I was going to do it, but I ran into a bit of a problem with the beloved Commonwealth of Massachusetts. I'm not going to tell you what happened, but no, but I recently decided to make another attempt, and much to my surprise, you know, I mean, I do have my hands on this investigation. I'm very upset about this, about what I've read, and I'm going to tell you about it. And now, of course, for certain confidentiality reasons, I'm not going to. There are going to be some things I'm obviously not going to say. But let's see here. Okay, so part of me would almost like to take a few screenshots and put them up on the screen just to show you that I am not fabricating any of the of what I'm about to say here, because as I've discovered, well, let me say there are two main reasons I'm upset about this. First would be no, well, okay. Let me first. Okay, sorry, I kind of get these multiple thoughts, like kind of. This is an ongoing thing for me. You know, I get these like multiple thoughts, like just kind of cramming and get overloaded a bit. So you know, sorry, you know, difficult to concentrate, as you know. Let me first say, okay, now, of course, it's been coming up on 4 years. Well, 3.5, 4 years, whatever, since I removed myself from her care. Okay, back in 2013. So I now have read her clinical notes that she had made over the better part of those 18 years, dating back to 1995. And I'm fucking bullshit about this. To think this is her clinical professional opinion of my existence. And what I'm equally as bullshit about is that she used the combination of these notes and any problems I've had in life to essentially discredit me and absolve herself from any wrongdoing. Multiple times she used the word delusional and paranoid to describe me in her notes. Cunt. I will tell you, there were a variety of discrepancies in her clinical notes about me, like certain events, dates, and I'm reading. I was reading this report, and I'm just, you know, I mean, some things were true. Okay, some things she got right, but I mean, you know, here and there'd be errors, discrepancies, and then of course I thought about it. It's like, well, I shouldn't be so surprised because that's what I encountered coming out of her mouth for the better part of 18 years. You know, here and there, one mistake after another, and it's ridiculous. Again, like I said, you know, a lot of these clinicians are a bunch of assholes. I will never completely trust another clinician in my life, I can tell you that. Because the days of complete trust ended 5 years ago, back in 2012. Okay. And like I said, if I didn't say earlier, for a lot of people, a lot of these clinicians, it's a power play for some of them. Some of them have huge egos, and some of them enjoy having control, okay, over their subordinates. Now, okay, like I said, I'm kind of doing this on the fly, on the seat of my pants, so to speak. So just kindly bear with me, all right, as I look down at my notes and figure out how I'm going to start this off here. Okay, I know I should be hitting the pause button, all right, sorry about that. One other thing I can tell you, and like I said, I'm doing this video not only to share my experience and fill the gaps of some questions and curiosity you might have yourself, but as I've discovered, not only do they, as I said, know how to cover their ass, but you see, as I sarcastically like to say, one professional quality of what makes a clinician a great clinician is knowing how and when to keep their own damn mouths shut. And that is critically important. Okay? Please remember that. Please remember that. Okay? I like to call it the NVI syndrome, not volunteering information. Okay? And like I said, I will never completely trust another one in my life. So, all right, so let me tell you, okay, just want to, what's the clock here? All right, almost 13 minutes already, sorry about that. Okay, now, as far as this investigation goes, all right, now, it's very, very lengthy, extremely lengthy, but the reason being is because, again, it's largely comprised of, the better part, well, I'll touch upon that in a second, the better of her clinical notes about me and her observations about me and such. And then, again, to make herself look completely professional, she also submitted, I mean, dozens, honestly, dozens of pages of copies of her clinical and educational background and training, courses, seminars, all this happy clinical crap, and again, that was quite lengthy, all right. And what I can also mention is, again, bear with me because I'm reading this as I'm speaking to you. I'm kind of trying to do this in the best chronological way as possible here, just to, so that it's easy to understand if humanly possible. Okay. And one other thing, well, a variety of things actually, which about this investigation report that struck me either odd, peculiar, ridiculous, or whatever. They were also, the investigator, the person, well, who was in charge or whatever, that they had, I guess, considered possibly interviewing me to assess my credibility. Okay, now whether they do that in every field of medicine in which they receive a complaint for, I have no idea. Okay, it'd be interesting to know. I am, again, just bear with me for a moment. And, okay. But I'll tell you one thing. Ms. Malpractice doesn't do a great job at record keeping and, keeping notes and such. Okay, and wait a minute, let me just, sorry about the temporary, okay. Now again, as I said just a moment ago, okay, I mean, she did everything, to make herself look as professional and squeaky clean as possible, all right? Now, the one thing that really bothered me about this now, as some of you know, okay, now remember back in that final year or so, 2012 into 2013, when she came out with those horrendous unethical comments, okay, I had specifically requested by name, the infamous phone call, which which you saw in the animated story, about not, only prescribing it on a limited basis, not having any experience, taking people off of it. The other remark about people staying on it for the rest of their lives, and of course the proverbial clinical icing on the cake in July of 2013, when I said, you realize it could have died, and to which she replied, well, it is beneficial, okay? Again, sorry for repeating myself, I've only hashed this out about 100 times. Now, in the complaint that I submitted some 4 years ago, right? 3 years, wait a minute, 3 years, whatever the hell it was, I don't know. 3 years ago, right? Now, because of course I mentioned all these things in addition to a variety of other things, okay, and I wrote extensively, okay, at length about these remarks, okay. Now, I don't know if I'm just being, a completely naive, stupid idiot, but I was expecting for her to be questioned, whether, and see if she actually admitted saying these things to me, which I reported. Now, I've gone through this complaint, okay, and as far as, as far as these, those remarks she came out with, I can't find any mention of it in the complaint. I mean, so I am clueless as to whether or not they even address this with her face to face. I mean, in other words, did you admit to saying these things to Kiwi 101? I'm clueless because there is no mention of it. And of course, if they did, of course, chances are she probably denied it, ever saying these things. I'm speculating here, but see, again, I was essentially expecting some kind of like a transcript or verbatim of a question and answer session in reading her response. Okay, there is nothing. I mean, the only thing from her is just the clinical notes, and just maybe like a, you know, whatever correspondence, she said. But it's like, I mean, as far as, again, as far as the actual, the alleged, I was told there was going to be a face-to-face interview with her. Okay. Whether that happened, I have no idea. If it did, and again, like I said, was she questioned about saying these things to me? Again, I'm clueless. I don't know. Um, Perhaps we could chalk that one up to insufficient evidence. Okay. So, um, okay, I'm just reading something. You can just I'm just debating whether or not to say this or not. Just give me a second here. Yeah, but again, you know, sorry, no, I mean, I mean, like I said earlier, I mean, she mentioned in her notes, okay, really never to my face, of course, of being delusional and paranoid, okay. I'm like I said, I'm just very upset about this because, she used these clinical observations of hers, with regard to, my overall persona or behavior or whatever, and put these down in her notes, and and it's like that. I mean, they was that met their satisfaction. So again, that's why I call it another bureaucratic slap in the face. Back in the verdict video. So, okay. Anyway, I also just wanted to, as far as the clinical notes go, a few other things I can say about that. All right, now, again, it was the better part of 18 years. Well, not quite, because there was like a 5-year gap from like 2001 to 2006. She claims to have misplaced the files, or they got lost in her attic, or whatever, at home. Again, just another example of how she doesn't have her shit together. And as I said, there's I mean, the discrepancies, between things I said, and even like time frames of certain events. They just, things don't. Again, these clinical notes are not completely accurate. Okay, but again, you can't fight the establishment, right? So, if you can just bear with me here. Okay. And she was, we have all had our issues and problems in life. And again, sorry, I really can't get into some of the details of my own, for my own, privacy issues, but, but I mean, there were, other problems I've had, and relating to other people, she's claiming that I am, I was being delusional. Okay, well, I'll give you one example. I had these neighbors who I knew for a fact had a This is many years ago. Had a history of recreational cocaine use, and I suspected it was continuing. Um, and I spoke to Psycho Cunt about this, and little did I know, she thinks I'm fabricating all this stuff up. Well, I wasn't, because I had these bastards. I was conducting my own surveillance, and I actually hired a private investigator in one of my dealings with those assholes. Okay, so here she is thinking I'm being delusional, and all this happy clinical crap of hers. Okay, again, it's all a bunch of clinical bullshit. Um, and remember, again, I can't stress this enough. As I said early on, I mean, they're always out to look out after number one and protect themselves. Okay, that's vitally important with these clinicians. Okay, um, and okay, oh, okay. So I'm going to actually, I am going to talk about her her notes, shall we say, with regard to my Zyprexa situation. All right. Now, like I said, the as I said, those during that last year of those horrible remarks, she came out. Okay, this like I said, it was not addressed. I cannot find any record of it anywhere. Okay. So what I want to do is I'm going to start around because it was 1999. Okay, when I started on Zyprexa, and so what I'm going to do, okay, when I got to get through this bullshit here, is go around to 1998. Okay. And here we go. Yes, and by the way, what really pisses me off about this, again, in true clinical legal fashion, she did a great job of turning the tables, turning the tide, and again, made me look guilty, untrustworthy, not credible. Congratulations, you fucking cunt. You did a great job. I'm sure being married to a fucking lawyer didn't hurt either. Which, by the way, she never told me about. I guess that slipped her mind too, right? Yeah, bullshit. Okay? And, okay, now, and like I said, this is the first time in 22 years I've discovered what she was writing about me. I know I said that earlier. Okay, I don't want you to think I'm completely losing it. Now, this is November 3rd, 1998. She claims that, let me just read this here. She claims that I am resistant to taking antipsychotics. Okay, so that, now, I honestly don't remember that. I mean, my long-term memory is very good. I mean, I don't remember that. Granted, again, that's 18 years ago. But like I said, November '98, I am resistant to antipsychotics, as far as exploring the possibility of taking one. Okay. Now, then we'll go ahead to, this is March 9th. Okay, 1999. Now this is where things get really bizarre in her notes. Okay. Now, like I said, okay, I began taking this Zyprexa, that it was September 99. And how do I remember that? Because, you see, at the time, I was living right around the corner from a high school. And, and I can remember, it was that, like the first night, it was the beginning of the school year, right after Labor Day, early September. And of course, I remember thinking, well, in fact, you know what? In fact, I remember. No, okay, I can remember. You know, here I go with a long-term memory. Um, I thought I was going to wake up from the noise of the traffic and everything, and I slept through it. Okay. And so, like I said, so I remember this was early September '99. Okay. Now, again, like I said, March, so 6 months earlier, okay, March 9th, 99. And so I'm going to say a couple of things here of which she wrote about. Again, I'm using a certain amount of discretion to cover my own ass, because that's what these fucking clinicians do. All right? Again, pardon the slightly off-color language. I hope some of you can appreciate it. Now, she goes on to say that I am coming around to accepting Zyprexa to see if it makes a difference. And then it says, Zyprexa 5 milligrams ordered. Okay, now, like I said, it was 6 months after this when, as I recall, okay. Now, unless I'm missing something here, I don't know. I mean, this is very bizarre. Okay. I mean, it's almost as if, I mean, she was ready to put me on an antipsychotic. Okay. But we see the thing that is just so bizarre about this note from March '99 is that, because I remember contacting her a few weeks before I started, or it was, so it would have been August of '99, and that is when. And I've said, I've touched upon this story before. This component on the time frame, and see, I remember, she's telling me about Zyprexa. Okay, I had never heard of it, and see, I also remember her saying, and mentioning the FDA required disclaimer about the tardive dyskinesia. Okay, which I was clueless about this, going into this, this is the first time in my life I've ever been issued a clinical disclaimer. You might get screwed by taking this drug. Okay, so and because I remember, like I said, I was. That when she said that, in that time frame, August, September '99, and I hesitated about going on Zyprexa, and I can remember, what was I going to say? All right, sorry. No, but what I'm trying to say is, I mean, I can remember, like I said, I mean, see, I was doing pretty good, and now I'm going downhill now. All right, I don't know if I can continue on. All right, but I'll tell you what, I'm going to take a quick break. All right, I'm going to see if I can pause this and attach and continue on in a jiff, okay? Sorry.